Now this is a special ceremony where we're going to honor 6 people and organizations that embody the goals, beliefs, and values of the Rumi Forum. And they include intercultural and interfaith dialogue, democracy, and peace. And those are values, goals, and beliefs that every one of us in this room shares. I'd like you to sit down now and enjoy your dinner, because this is not only an award ceremony, it's a dinner, and that's a good part of it as well. And we have a special guest who's going to speak with you as you dine this evening. And I'm going to give you a moment to be seated, and then I'm going to call him up to the stage. Thank you very much. Now I'd like to take the time to introduce a very special friend to the Rumi Forum. He is Congressman Kendrick Meek of the 17th Congressional District of Florida. Congressman Meek. Congressman Meek, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so very much, and good evening to everyone. Welcome to the United States Capitol. My name is Congressman Meek. I represent the state of Florida, Dade and Broward County, and we're very honored because we have a number of people that will be honored tonight, and members of Congress and also members of the diplomatic corps, and those that are working towards not only peace and dialogue, but the Rumi Awards are something to promote not only dialogue, but encourage the people of goodwill and institutions of goodwill to continue to do what you do so that we can bring about peace. Here in this Cannon Room, there are a number of meetings that take place amongst the Democratic caucus and the Republican caucus. And it's to not only make our country stronger here in the United States, but also provide the kind of leadership throughout the world, and also promote dialogue in a peaceful way. And it's very, very appropriate that all of us are here, and I'm very impressed by so many representatives of countries and organizations that are here. I want you to not only enjoy your evening tonight, but talk to your neighbors and reflect on the work that you've done throughout this year, and hopefully we will be able to reconvene here at the Capitol. The Capitol is open to not only Americans, but also to foreign dignitaries such as yourself. And during your time here working in this capital city and spending time in New York at the UN, it's always good to have you here. So I know that there'll be other members coming in and out, but I wanted to welcome you to the Capitol, wanted to welcome you back when you're ready to come back and see some of the history that we have here in this Capitol. The Cannon Building in this room, this caucus room, is a very, very important room, and will continue to serve as a beacon of dialogue and peace as we move along. So to our awardees, I congratulate you, and I welcome all of you here tonight. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Thank you.
In addition to Congressman Meek, we had a number of members of the House of Representatives here tonight, a number of ambassadors and dignitaries as well, and we'd like to thank all of them for coming as well. Right now I'd like to call up Congressman Robert Aderholt of Alabama's 4th Congressional District. Congressman Aderholt.
Let me also, as with my colleague Congressman Meek, just want to say welcome to the United States Capitol, and we're very glad to have everyone that's visiting here. I know we have several in this room that are my colleagues, co-workers that I work with on a daily basis, but those of you who are not usually in this building or on the Hill on a daily basis, we do welcome you here. And this is my first time to attend the Rumi Forum dinner, and just recently learned about the Rumi Forum, what it's doing, And I think it's a great mission of what it's doing is trying to reach out to try to bridge the gap, try to build bridges between cultures, between faiths, and to try to find common ground. And certainly here in the city of Washington, that is needed, but it's needed around the world. Peace and dialogue is something I think is something that is that this entire world needs more of, and so what you're doing here at the Rumi Forum is exactly, I think, is the exact recipe for trying to have world peace, and so that we can try to work together. I am from Alabama. I represent the 4th Congressional District of Alabama. This is my 13th year serving here in the House of Representatives. The area that I represent is the area of northern part of the state between Birmingham and Huntsville, that portion of the state. But like I said, this is my first time to be here for the dinner. I'm very glad to have the invitation to be here. And just want to, as Congressman Meek said, want to congratulate those that are going to be honored tonight, those that are going to be receiving the awards for their work and what they're doing as well. So again, look forward to working with you, and please know how my office can be of help to you in any way. Please let us know, and we look forward to working with you in the future on future projects. Thank you.
As I mentioned, we have a number of good friends of Rumi Forum here tonight. Among them are Representative John Conyers of Michigan's 14th District. Congressman Conyers.
Good evening, friends. Those first 2 forkfuls of salad were delicious. I want you to know that. I can hardly wait to get back to polish off the rest of my meal. I come from the tradition of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. And so to discuss the issues of peace, of reconciliation, and of fairness is describing the reason that I came to Congress. I'm not reluctant to admit that I am the only member of Congress that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. ever endorsed. And I only hope that I'm living up to this Howard Coble, the greatest American I have ever met in my life, that influenced not only my political outlook, but it influenced my philosophy toward life. And so I welcome you. I urge you to get to know me and the other members of Congress. My office is open for any assistance that I can provide. And you might want to know that part of my philosophy turns on the belief that everything is everything, and that we are all interconnected, whether we know it or not, or whether we like it or not. What does that mean? Well, it means that everybody born and living, 6.4 billion people out of a couple hundred, 232 different nations, are interconnected, even more so now in the 21st century than they were at any other time. That is to say that everything we do and everything we say affects other people. And so if we really believe that we are all equal, if we really believe that we all deserve a chance in life, I'm going from here to an event being sponsored by Bill and Melinda Gates. Well, I admit he is the wealthiest person in the world that I know of. And on his public radio commercials or advertisements, they say he believes that everybody deserves the right to a chance to have a healthy life. Have you heard that? A healthy and an opportunity in life. And I think to myself, and I don't know what I'm going to say to him tonight, so don't look in the papers tomorrow. But here is a man that could help us solve a lot of problems. And he is doing some good things. But you've heard of Nader's book. Ralph Nader's got a book out, Only the Super Rich Can Save Us. Well, he must have been talking about Bill Gates, and he just was too modest to mention him by name. Now, I'm going to be with him tonight. And I'm practicing on what I'm going to say with you so I can mention that. I was with Rumi tonight at the Peace and Dialogue Awards, and they thought it was okay, so that's how we're all hooked up together, isn't it? We're all connected. Well, Bill Gates, if you really believe everybody deserves a chance and opportunity in life, why don't you join us in trying to bring peace in the world and more justice in the world for everybody? You have at least the clout of a member of Congress, let's say, to pick a small entity in the federal establishment. Let's do something. And what I'm trying to hope that all of you feel and believe is that all of you are trying to do something in your own way. Just think of what a Gates could do. Now, in the spirit of confession, I should also tell you I've been thinking about a book after looking at Ralph Nader's book, and it would be entitled, Only the Poor Can Save Us. There's two schools of thought. Well, what do you mean by that, Chairman Conyers? Well, I mean that if all the poor really understood their situation and that I could communicate it to them, and that they would exercise their constitutional rights, they would be arguably one of the most effective voting blocs in the nation. But of course, when you're poor and unemployed, and that you come out of a poor education, and heaven help you if you've come from the inner city, and your school systems weren't that great, and there is dwindling job opportunities, it's kind of hard to be focused on how you're going to make this a better country when you're trying to wonder how you're going to get the next meal or not get evicted from wherever you might be. And so you have a different mindset. Fortunately, I've taken that into consideration and realize that maybe it's easier to go to the super rich and ask them to help make this a better world than, which if there are only a few super rich, than to go to the masses of people in the world and ask them to make it a better place. I wish you'd take that up in one of your next or future panels when you examine how we go about making this a better place. I close on the observation that Martin Luther King Jr. influenced me to the extent that when I first ran for office, and the actual date of my first election is a deep secret because it goes back so far that hardly anybody here would even have any idea of how far it goes back. A message for the president? Well, of course I have. I'm a federal legislator. That's my job. I help create the federal laws. And I will say to President Obama, please do not listen to the generals and admirals that want you to do this surge and send in 40,000 more troops to Afghanistan. Don't do it, it won't work. There's no military victory to be had in Iraq, Afghanistan, or anywhere else for that matter, because I support true and genuine and lasting peace. Thank you for your kind attention, and I will return to my salad.
Another friend of Rumi Forums is here with us tonight, Congressman Bill Cassidy of the 6th Congressional District of Louisiana. Congressman Cassidy, please.
Thank you for having me here. My relationships with Turkey are increasing as I age. 20 years ago, I knew grad students at LSU, and for some reason, all the Turks that are in Louisiana are professionals, and it gives you a skewed perspective. One fellow beat me in chess 6 times before I decided to stop playing him. My son is currently plays tennis, but our relationships go, although importantly are personal. In Louisiana, they go a little bit further. There's the business groups in our state that are involved with petrochemical, building pipelines and such like that. And I've learned that there is a strong relationship between my state and Turkey. But perhaps more important than that is the historic relationship between Turkey and the United States. Whether it's you serving alongside, whether it's Turks serving alongside U.S. troops in Korea, or you being next to the Soviet Union, yet nonetheless allowing NATO to come in and joining NATO, on to relationships that continue today. So I thank you for having me here. I look forward to more relationships that build between my family and folks from Turkey, from my state, and businesses in Turkey, and most importantly, between our countries and mutually beneficial relationships. Thank you very much for having me here.
It's my pleasure to welcome Congresswoman Jean Schmidt of the 2nd Congressional District of Ohio.
Good evening. First of all, I want to thank you for the kind invitation to be here this evening and for allowing me to speak before you, because I really do believe in what you are doing. Peace and dialogue are the 2 things this earth really needs, and needs now. It is entirely appropriate that we gather here tonight to celebrate, encourage, and facilitate peace throughout the world. I'm going to be brief, but in my short tenure here, I have seen a lot of evil in the world. Villains with no regard for human life, evil that is not deterred. Peace can only be accomplished by understanding. Oppression requires nothing but unchecked might and violence. One of the things that I'm involved with is the girls' school in Kabul. It's small by school standards, yet as many as 16,000 students go through that school each year. You see, they run it in 3 shifts, early morning, mid-afternoon, late evening. Girls wanting an education. I truly believe that women are one of the best ways we can promote peace. Women, mothers, want nothing more than a better life for their children. Education makes this possible. Mothers want liberty and freedom. They want to worship as they choose to worship. They want to have educated children. They want a better life, not for themselves, but for the kids that they bear. Ladies and gentlemen, peace and dialogue can make this happen. There is every heart in every darkened corner where evil is found, that through peace and dialogue, evil can be overcome. Thank you so much for turning evil's corner into brightness and hope. Thank you for what you do, and I look forward to this evening. God bless all that you do.
And finally, Rumi Forum would like to introduce Congressman Nick Rahal of the 3rd Congressional District of West Virginia.
I want to, like previous speakers, join in thanking the sponsors of this Rumi event. Certainly the foundation and the philosophy upon which you are founded is exemplified by each of your award recipients this evening, and I congratulate them as well, especially my dear colleague Jerry Conley, and who gave me the loudest round of applause just now. I appreciate his friendship and all that he does in the Congress. But the foundation and the principles upon which your group are founded are certainly principles upon which each and every one of us, as human beings, whether we are in the political arena or whatever arena in which we find ourselves, should base our daily lives. Human justice, freedom, democracy, communication, these are principles, dialogue, principles upon which if every one of us were to base our lives, and especially those in government positions, then the world would be a much better place in which to live. Communication especially. Learning to listen to the other person when he or she is speaking. And that means listening when we may not always agree. It's not my quote, but we all know that communication does not mean capitulation. And whether it is communication among nations or among individuals, or among different spiritual groups, or philosophical groups, or political groups, or cultural groups, communication is the key to understanding one another and to preventing future wars. This is what Rumi is all about. And I certainly appreciate the inner faith, the inner philosophical, the intercultural, the interspiritual manner in which you conduct your forums. So I congratulate you and say keep up the great work and the dialogue in which you are involved. And again, congratulations to tonight's award recipients. Thank you.
And I thank you for coming to the Rumi Awards this evening. I want to welcome you to the 2009 Rumi Peace and Dialogue Awards. Tonight we will be honoring 6 people and organizations who embodied the ideals, the goals, the belief of the Rumi Forum: intercultural and interfaith dialogue, democracy, and peace. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about the Rumi Forum. It began in 1999. It built upon those beliefs I just talked about, and it built upon the work of Fethullah Gulen.
Members of Congress, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This evening is the culmination of the tireless work of those individuals and organizations who have played a positive contribution to the efforts of increasing understanding and dialogue between communities in the hope that a greater awareness of the unknown may help people to overcome their prejudice and misunderstanding, and which will lead to a greater socially inclusive and harmonious community. I want to congratulate each of tonight's recipients on behalf of the Rumi Forum. It is this service to community, civic society, and broader humanity that is inspired through the works and words of our honorary president, Mr. Fethullah Gulen, through his positive role model. Known to those around him as Hoca Efendi, respected teacher, he has motivated students, professionals, families, and business people, both young and old, male and female, to take an inclusive approach to serving those around them. Such institutions set up upon these ideals have been formed throughout the four corners of the world. Whether they are in Nepal, New Zealand, Norway, or Nigeria, their sole purpose is to lend a hand through education, dialogue, and community service. It is this ideal of service in congruence with the message of Rumi's love for others that has enabled the Rumi Forum to reach out to all quarters within Washington and the broader United States. It is also pertinent that this function is held in the US Congress with our notable congressional members, for this the center of democracy, as it is a great symbol and means for others to aspire to. We at the Rumi Forum will continue to hold such high common values so as to help those not only locally but also internationally to reach a similar understanding of service and dialogue, respect for others, and democracy. In the coming months, new ventures will be pursued to enable us to reach even more people. On this occasion, I want to thank the many individuals who have volunteered their time and efforts to support our events. It is through these sacrificial and sincere efforts that the Rumi Forum has achieved the many things that it has. In particular, I want to thank our sponsors who contribute financially to our cause, some of whom are amongst us this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, may this occasion be a means for fostering greater friendship with both those whom we know and those whom we do not. Thank you for your attendance and support, and I wish you all a most pleasant evening.